right.
3, 2, 1, action.
Hey, Maria.
Hey, Lisa.
How are you today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I am good. How was your trip to Miami?
You know, it was quite the experience. I met incredible people. I made many connections.
Well, welcome home, and we missed you. And I'm glad that you're here. Today is Friday. You know what that means?
Yes, it's the Diversity Duo podcast.
Let's get started.
Can we do the little dance? We have to do the dance.
So, Maria,
Yes, Lisa.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn.
Me too. We have a guest today who I don't even know when we first got introduced on LinkedIn, but it's been happening for a while now. I believe you and she are connected also.
Yes.
And it's really just a message for how important and vital LinkedIn is for the business community, for making connections, building out your infrastructure, right? Sole proprietors, what do? We connect and we build our armies through LinkedIn. So I want to introduce you to Lovely Sharma. She and I have been connected, as I said, for some time on LinkedIn. And Lovely, I'm going to hand it over to you. Hello and welcome. And what we'd love is for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got here.
Hey, thank you so much, Maria and Lisa. And happy Friday. Good to be here.
Happy Friday.
Again, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this podcast. And it's truly a beautiful initiative. And I'm sorry, before introducing me, I just want to say 2, 3 lines for you people. And I love that you're kicking it off with a focus on diversity under the name The Diversity Duo. It is so important to create, spaces like this because where we can share stories, insights, real impact around diversity and inclusion in the industries. So, it's kudos to both of you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Lovely.
Okay, so small introduction, although I have not done some big things in the life, but yes, whatever I've done to start with, with over, 18 years of work experience, primarily with telecom, media, IT industry, globally. And I've built a career at the, intersection of supplier diversity, customer success, and strategic sourcing, I'll say. And I'm passionate about creating, inclusive supply chains, and then drive innovation, equity, and real business value, where we can, real see the impact what we are doing and what is our, employment, actually gives the impact where we can, we can talk about what we are doing, It's just not a 9 to 5 routine.
That's right.
So currently I work with Net to Source, and where I continue to champion supplier diversity initiatives and foster meaningful client partnership. And that's my personal passion as well.
I love that.
That's great.
One of the things that I've been excited about to talk about with you is your connection between customer satisfaction and supplier diversity and how those two meet. Because I don't know that we've addressed that yet in our podcast. And I'd love if you want to just kind of jump right into it, if you could talk a little bit about what your thoughts are for making those connections and how, not just how do you develop it, but how do you foster it and keep it going?
If I talk about a supplier diversity, let's keep it a little side. First of all, whatever, when we are working or even when we're not working, we are moving, suppose we are in a market or we are going for a shopping or wherever where we are customer there and the role is played by us. But when, if I talk about, we are on the other side. If a client is coming there or if a customer is coming there, when we are on our employment side. So customer role is most important role, which I have learned in my throughout career. Customer focus is something where, if a single employee is ready to focus that, and with the alignment of course, the company goals, no, I don't think any company, can, see the downfall. Never, ever. Because a happy customer, a smiling customer can, make the world go round.
That's
And
right.
word of mouth is something, right, from the ancient times to the AI world.
That is so
It
true.
is always working. It is always working. And we are, just now we were talking LinkedIn. What is it? It was just a platform. But I met you, I met Lisa, we introduced ourselves. That time, maybe I was the customer for you, or maybe I was targeting you as a customer,
That is
maybe to
true.
get the partnership and all. And nowadays, if we talk about the customer, it is no more a giving and taking. It's a partnership. We move together. We are on the same platform because it's only the give and take process.
That is
I
so
love that you
true.
said that, Lovely, because I think oftentimes on LinkedIn, I get stuck. I get stuck in a funny category when people start talking to me. I think, are you trying to sell me or do you need me to sell you? And I'm not big on my sales being, you know, let me tell you about me. That's
Right.
that's not
Right.
how I'm going to talk about it. I want a conversation, and it is about the win-win. It's about what do you need? What are your challenges? 2025, 26 are riddled with challenges,
Right.
especially around
Right.
supplier diversity.
On LinkedIn, I love when people reach out to me and they want to establish first and foremost a relationship. Those people I immediately will reply. But if somebody from the get go, thank you for the connection, this is what I'm selling, and I want you to buy it because you need it, it's like it's a complete turn off. Get to know me.
Yeah.
And let me get to know you before you sell me whatever it is that you're selling. But, you know, Lovely, I last night as I was going through the website, I learned so much about your company. And one of the things that I really, really was tickled pink about is that your company is certified through the National Minority Supplier Diversity Council, or NMSDC. Can you tell me how important this certification has been for your company, and what would be your advice to those companies that are thinking about getting the certification, but they're like, oh, let me wait and see?
We all say in our, pitch, in our speeches, whenever we interact with the clients, we always speak about diversity. We always talk about being supplier, which are diversity suppliers, right? But what is the platform? What is everything has to be with facts, figures, which can be proved. And that's where the certification plays role. And the institution like NMSDC, VBank, and also these are the institutions which actually set the criteria, which are focused for the suppliers as well as the clients, as well as the net customers, the end users, we can say. Because it is very important, you cannot only talk about diversity. It is very easy to talk, but you need to have that certification, that which proves that yes, you have been aligned with all the parameters which has been downline, which has been set, and then after those parameters being qualified by the third party or the third firm which has the expertise on that, and then only you can actually say that we are. And I must say, net to source, it's not only the words. Netu Source has a complete focus. We are, besides NMSDC certification, we are driving so many programs for the women in tech, the people, especially the women with a gap, after the pregnancy or maybe any household responsibility, coming back to the job. We are taking care of everything. And we don't only say, we are doing it. And as Lisa was saying, that she has gone on the website, and I'm sure she has seen that, what we are all doing.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was a fantastic answer. Lisa? Yeah.
Sure. So, Lovely, tell us a little bit about your history. How did you, where did you grow up? How did you get to New Jersey? If that's not where you grew up, your education, what made you interested in this particular line of work?
Sure, sure, sure. So as I told you that I'm working for a global company. I've always worked with the MNCs. So the companies where they have all sort of, the complete geography is open for them, the complete world is open for them. So first of all, that gives a lot of exposure, and that's the prime interest for me. If I talk about, I told you in my, initial introduction also that I've been working with a lot of industries as well. But yes, I will say that yes, every company, whether it is manufacturing industry, consumer focus, whatever industry it is, but diversity is always a main thing. And my role was always a diversity oriented.
That's
So
great.
despite of any industry, I had always my passion as my focus. And that was to take care of the profiles where I can cater, we can take care of the complete diversity profiles, whether on client side or whether on the supplier side.
So I love that because Lovely, I think, you know, staff augmentation is something I absolutely want to make sure we touch on. But I think one of the other things that makes this interview different and you visiting us today is to talk about globalization and supplier diversity. You know, we're a podcast that spends our time talking with, you know, we kind of split people into two groups. We have large organizations and we have small businesses, and we are I love tickled pink. Let's try and use that more today. And I'm tickled pink that we've been able to bring people on from kind of both of those categories. I think what makes you and your organization unique and your personal mission is the interest in globalization around supplier diversity. And I don't know for our listeners if that's kind of if it's a given of what does global supplier diversity look like. Can you Do you want to help kind of tie that back with maybe a high level, and then we'll dive it deeper into how you play a role in that?
That's a very good question, first of all.
Thank you.
So you want to actually understand, or maybe you want to know more about that how the global supply diversity look like. That's what I think I've understood it right.
Yeah, because again, I think you're the first for our listeners who maybe on just on the outskirts of supplier diversity, they might not be well versed in what globalization is. And again, Maria and I have never spoken about it. I don't think we've ever spoken about it on the podcast.
We have not.
No, I'm thrilled. So yeah, I think Lovely, we're gonna hand over to you, and I'd love for you to be kind of set the tone for globalization of supplier diversity for the Diversity Duos audience. Just a small order.
So if I talk about the globalization, what do you mean by that? The companies who are operating globally, how the supply diversity works for them. That's what you want to understand, or how this complete portfolio works in the around the world.
I think those are two, as you pointed out, they're two different topics. I'd love to start with, let's start with how supplier diversity works globally, because I think that one is filled with nuance and difficulties, and that's a fun one to start with.
So first of all, that also, if I talk about industry wise, it will, it will work industry wise. Suppose if I will just take example of a manufacturing industry, or maybe the industries where the retail chains work. So there the supplier diversity has a very, very important role. Why? Because then we can, make some supply chains with the kind of diverse suppliers, which who are, who have a big team who can operate globally, because somehow it can, help in the complete invoicing, as I told about the net to source, that completely working for a company in the whole global this thing area or geography, and then billing them only from the US, billing them only from the one place where their complete diversity spend can be taken care of, and it's a win-win situation for a client and even the supplier. So that's a small example I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay. If I talk about the global this thing, I'll just give you a real-time example. We all have heard about IBM, right? And we all know that IBM has been a top corporate, for the supplier diversity programs. And till now, right? They started in 1968. And if we talk about IBM, they have done this global program first, global supplier diversity, and they have, made that change. They have invested in that training. They have instead in their, invested in their employees, and they have, developed this program with the trainings and so well that complete chains of them or complete program of them runs universally. And if I'll talk about what is the, outcome of that, yes, it's $15 million revenue they have, registered on this supplier diversity. So these are the things, if I talk about supplier diversity globally, it's a big thing. And yes, it is, I mean, seeing nowadays economy, it has a, huge saving also, cost saving as well, which is the prime focus of the industry right now.
I have a question about that. It needs a little clarification. In your expertise as a global company, What difference have you noticed in the different programs, the United States based ones as opposed to European, Africans, whatever country outside the United States your company has worked on?
So if I talk about, I was just mentioning net to source has a, a clear cut, thing that they are committed to help organization to meet their diversity and inclusion goals through our diversity spend capture solutions. Okay. So as a certified minority owned business, we offer a single invoicing option that consolidates all workforce management expenses, simplifying the process of converting, spend into the recognized diverse spend. So that we do it in US only.
So
Oh,
I think I have a
interesting.
question on that. So are you saying that you'll use an organization that's outside of the US and then invoice it through your companies to
That's only for the diversity spend I'm talking about.
so you're converting non-diverse spend into diverse spend because it's going through your organization?
That's a pass through.
For the solutions which we are providing.
Oh, I see.
Interesting.
Oh, I see. So
So
solution.
that's our tool which we have developed,
I see.
unique tool which we are using it.
I see. So you're using non-diverse suppliers, putting them under maybe like through a subcontracted relationship is my guess, so that you're then able to convert that spend into diverse spend.
So no, we are not dealing with the suppliers. We ourselves are the supplier. I'm talking about the client relationship.
Okay.
How we can help the clients to manage their diverse goals.
Okay, lovely. So thank you for all of these updates. So what I'm hearing, and I just want to kind of level set and have for the audience to level set also. So the organization and your interest is really twofold. It's diversity amongst employees, very important, right? An HR perspective, staff augmentation, one, and then two being your supplier diversity spend tool, which tracks spend reports, et cetera, reporting and all of that. That's wonderful. Maria, I know you have a question, but when we're ready, I want to really jump into staff augmentation because I'm excited.
And that's fine because a lot of people don't get staff augmentation.
Yeah.
So that's very good, and I'm looking forward to your question and Lovely's answer. I've been hearing the back and forth, and I really hope that the audience really enjoyed this conversation because it was forthcoming. We needed somebody like you here. But here's a question I have, okay? What challenges organizations such as yours face in measuring the success and impact of supplier diversity initiatives? Have you ever faced, or do you know of organizations that have faced issues in to meet those initiatives, the supply diversity program initiatives?
So if you talk about the challenges we face is actually when, the whatever we are certainly 100% focused on the diversity. We believe we are every step, Now, okay, let's start with the thing that how we support supplier diversity, right? Because that will clarify the things with challenges, from we can, that will take out the challenges as well, right? Is that okay?
That's
Yep.
fine. That's fine.
Because see, how we support, I'll just give you an example, N2S in the sense, net to source, we do strategic partnerships with the diverse suppliers. That's the step one, okay? And what we do, we actively, partner with, first of all, as a step one, we actively partner with the certified diverse suppliers, like including minority owned, and LGBTQ owned businesses, everything. We actually partner. Then they help these suppliers access large client opportunities by, including them in sourcing RFPs, we all know, and service delivery models. So this is the way we support them. Then the very important thing comes is tier 1 and tier 2 diversity spend, which we do. Right, there into us again, we contribute to tier 1 supplier diversity, which is like direct spend, with diverse suppliers. We all know that tier 1. And then we also support tier 2 diversity spend by helping clients, to meet their own supplier diversity goals when N2S is a vendor in that case. So it is a dual thing if we see. And then, the third very important part is supporting, for certifications and development. So what we do is we guide diverse suppliers, through the certification process. Like we introduce them to the organizations, NMSDC, WeBank, and others. That's what also we do. And then we offer mentorship, capacity building. These are the services also which we do, which we give in this capacity, supplier diversity capacity to enterprise level clients. Then comes internal supplier diversity program, which you already mentioned about the employees and all. You just mentioned, I think, Maria. So we have a structured, yeah.
No, I wanted to jump in on the supplier on the really jump into staff augmentation as because I think the HR perspective of hiring diverse suppliers is really valuable, and I'd love to talk about, since we have you here and we don't usually get to ask these questions,
Yeah.
right? How do you advise clients that are coming in and saying, we're looking to build out our staff through some diversity initiatives? I guess now, here we are in 2025, there's some regulatory hesitancies around what that looks like. Maybe you could address that a little bit. I'd love to know, what's the buzz from your client base? What's the fear from, right? So for me, from my clients, I'm getting a lot of fear around supplier diversity. I'd love to hear from a diversity employment perspective. What's the buzz? What's the buzz on the streets right now?
Okay, so that's a great question. Convincing clients to, embrace supplier diversity in staffing, it requires, a mix of business case, social impact, and foremost is alignment with their goals,
Do you,
which is very important.
yeah, do you help your clients build out their HR goals and initiatives and KPIs?
Yes, we do that. You know how we do that? That's all. That also has some steps. That what we do is we lead with the business value first of all for them, right? We tie it to their goals. First of all, in our conversation of any with client, when initial stages of it is derived from the step one, where we talk about that, yes, how their business value can be enhanced with this. Then the topics which we cover actually is how the cost efficiency will help, because that's something which is close to everyone's heart now. And then we always talk about the better candidate quality under this. Then we always talk about the innovation. Then we tie it to their goals. That's what we practically do everything. We don't only talk about, huh? So if, I'll give you an example. If my client is DI or ESG or corporate social responsibility, we all know CSR, right?
Yep.
So initiatives, and I can see them, getting actively involved in them. So I will show them that how my staffing supplier diversity supports them. We are, we are running our own 2, 3. One is on name of Ashaएं, if you have seen on the website.
Yep.
And then we support women. These are the programs which we are running under the CSR, where
Can
we
you-
are providing free meals, to 2,000 people in a day.
Can you dive into your that women initiative in a little more detail? Because I think that was interesting.
Women
Yeah.
in tech. That's a women in tech.
Yeah, women in tech. That's right.
Women in tech, yeah. So we support women, especially with the women who are from the technology background, but they have, taken a pause in their career due to whatever, maternity, due to anything, females, we have a lot of problems with our own, menopause, with our, so many things,
Sure.
health to family. So we support them. We don't see that there is, we actually kill that gap, what we see, their work gap, and we get them on the board. And that we do internally on the end-to-end roles as well, and we convince for the client as well, till the time they are capable. So that's a great initiative which we have taken, and which has actually, and that is the reason N2S has approximately 60 to 70% more than that females.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And that you had more than just a women program, right? There were other programs that you were running?
Yes, I told you that is an Ashaएं program, where we provide 1,500 to 2,000 meals to the needy people per day.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's a great job. Great, you know,
Yeah, and see,
initiative.
Lisa, when we tell that to this client, and we tie it to we tie this to their goals of diversity. See how they will feel about it.
Wow. It's almost like a tier two initiative, right? If you think it through, like the connection that you're doing and feeding some hungry, and the connection with an organization doing business with you and that support. That's amazing. What a wonderful connection.
You know,
So, when we talk about this and then they are aligned to that, I mean, they are win-win. They always say, wow. And that's two, three unique points, which, at the first presentation only, and they're so impressed.
That's lovely.
I want to talk about how the governmental policies and regulations assist or hinder supplier diversity initiatives from your point of view. And I know that, from a point of view of me working for government and now being on the other side, I see how those regulations have affected me now, not when I was sitting on that other side. So
If I correctly understand, it shows that how government policies, impact the supplier diversity goals. That's what?
either assist or hinder supply diversity goals or initiatives.
So if I talk about how they help, so government policies play a crucial role, I think, in shaping, and promoting, because sometimes, it's a mandate to impact that space.
Yes.
Suppose, how it is mandate, I'll explain you. It's mandate for public contracts, right? You have worked in the governments, you just told me, right? So at federal, state, and local levels, we require a percentage of a spend, to go to diverse suppliers, right? Which is especially in a public procurement, if you know. I mean, you must be know that, okay?
Yeah.
Especially the US federal government, if I talk about. So agencies are required to spend a certain percentage, certain percentile with small disadvantage, this thing, women owned, then again service disabled, and then hub zone, which we know for the thing, comment area. So that is the certification hub zone, we all know. So I think here, if we talk about this diversity spend and then tie to their goals of, hub zone and all, it has a direct impact and it helps also. But yes, if they are denial of that, so then it can be because I think it can be a additional value.
There you go.
Absolutely.
That's the key right there.
Yeah. Is your organization making some adjustments though with this federal administration and some of these executive orders that are, pardon me, that are driving change in the language, right? Which is becoming very impactful.
So we actually, it's not about only government, not about the public sector, whatever sector. We, as you said in the starting, that you are trying to make a difference. That's what N2S is always about, the difference. But yes, what is important is we both understand this, we all three, that, speaking about difference and and actually making the difference is something which we believe in, step by step, always doing it. Yeah. And that's what you are also.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a great answer.
Yeah. And I think that speaks to who you and I are and what our relationship is, right? So, and thank you for that, Lovely. Like that's everything that you and I talk about is about the change, about how can we impact whatever it is we're working on. How can we impact it positively?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I really appreciate that. Lovely. I want to make sure, because we're more than halfway, I want to make sure that if there's anything that we're not talking about, if we can tee you up for something that you would like specifically to address, if you can just make sure that we're doing that.
I think we are pretty very good on the topic which we have picked up. And yes, your questions are really very, appropriate, I can say, near to the topic.
Let's come back to staff augmentation if we can for a minute. And if you could, I don't know that staff augmentation is even a phrase that many of our listeners, not specifically in procurement or HR, know. If maybe you could give a quick introduction to staff augmentation, and then I'd love to hear what your experience is with it and how you perceive it's going to be important for 25, 26.
So if I talk about the staff augmentation, it is a, workforce strategy. If I say it is a workforce strategy where, companies hire external talent, or the workforce, whatever we say, often through staffing firms. That's important. Okay. So they hire the external talent, and from the staffing force, and on a temporary or project based,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Or temporary or project based basis to fill, skill gaps. A certain skill, thing is required and all. So skill gaps, or to increase the capacity. If a client has, the requirement of increasing the capacity, so to hiring that without adding full-time employees. So that is staff augmentation in a, simple language.
And I love that. And I think to me, where it becomes really important for 24, 25, 26 is around the filling, the gap filling, in which you pointed out to, right?
It's
Because
like a, it's like a plug and play talent.
yes, yes, and I think it's important to go. I think one of the values. So I'm gonna pump up your organization and all the organizations that manage staff aug, as opposed to kind of some of those off the cuff upstarts or Fiverr, right? Some of those where you can just go on and look for your talent.
Freelance. Yep.
What I see as one of your benefits is you vetted the people. We're not reaching out into this blind web and saying, oh, they say they can do this and they're only charging $10 an hour.
Right.
Right? Like the amount of, and again, I'm not saying that people haven't had successes. I have some success off of one of those sites. But I think if I were thinking about doing I don't want to say a bigger project, a meaningful project, especially something that my outcome is client facing, I certainly want to be able to turn to an expert like yourself and say, help me find this skill. I need somebody who does XYZ. I need for this many hours. I need, this many dollars, etc. And I'm going to get the right kind of people. So it's really interesting. It's more than temp, but it's more than temp because it's so
more than temp
specialized.
because it has a quality, it has a fixed goals, it has a definite skill set which is required.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's outstanding. And you're hiring internationally for these roles. So as a US organization, I can reach out to you and you'll help by hiring people globally for
Yes, we do.
Love that.
We are a global organization.
That's great.
And your next part was, Maria, that how the staff augmentation will be important in 2025, right? So most important thing in nowadays is flexibility. And this gives you flexibility, right? Because companies went to, scale teams up or down quickly. It's a very random, requirement, what we talk about in response to the market changes. I mean, nobody wants to, lay off, or nobody wants to hire, but that's all, as per the market changes. So to get the things on such a fast speed with the quality, it gives the staff of always gives you that agility without long-term commitments.
Yeah.
And you can get the manpower, yeah. So, and talent, and one very important thing is that you might be aware that in the niche skills, talent is always less. There's always a shortage of talent in niche skills,
Yeah, it's funny, Lovely, because as we're sitting here talking about it, I'm looking through the procurement lens. I'm like, oh, isn't that great for teams? They can fill in. I want to flip the script a little bit on us. We are laying off how many people in this country right now who come to the table with big skills. And I think
experience, education. I mean, they bring it all.
They bring it, and they bring that niche that you were just talking about. And what an opportunity, and I think what who we're speaking to today is really those people that are part of some of these layoffs, right? Reaching out and aligning your resumes and your knowledge with staff aug companies, that can keep you busy, right? That's what a wonderful way to think about that.
It's a two-way hell.
One more time.
It's a two-way hell.
Yes.
You can have the pool of the candidates, who have been, somehow lost their job, and then you can get them placed again at the small projects and all.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Or maybe you are finding out the people, and we do the bench also. We get the pool of the candidates also.
That's
and
great.
this is great also for those college graduates coming right out of college. It's an opportunity to hands-on and develop that experience that they're going to need eventually down the road. So I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, that's great. So, Lovely, I think, as we're coming up to time, one of the questions that we have for you is, and again, right on the heels of Staff Aug, what's the hindrance? What's keeping everybody from coming to you and saying, here's my skills, here's my resume, get me on the bench? What's the hindrances that you're seeing?
From the candidate side?
From the I think if you could speak to the candidates, what's I don't want to say what's your pitch because that sounds salesy, but
Yeah.
what's the holdup for people coming to you?
See, challenges for, if I talk about the staff augmented talent, challenges for in the coming generations, or maybe this Gen Z or whatever, the people who have started working. First of all, it is lack of job security.
Uh,
Because somehow staff aug, doesn't offer that
Yep.
permanency, right? Because contracts are often short term or project based, and fear of what's next in the future, that is always there. And young generation, if we talk about, they cannot cope up with so much maturity, and they cannot think beyond the things that, okay, whatever we are getting it, we should do it with very great effort, maybe the things will fall in place. No, they always want to see a future ahead, what is going to be how we are going to grow. They want to assume things 5 years, you know again, 5 years down the line, what will happen.
Okay.
But the people where we are, we always believe that, okay, give us the chance, let's see, and then we can move and do something good next, because we'll have experience of that skill. So that is the main thing. And then sometimes it is limited career development support also. Unlike, full-time roles, positions, staff augment positions may lack also.
Do you offer feedback and means for, even if it's a LinkedIn learning, let's promote LinkedIn for a moment.
Yep.
Do you, if somebody comes to you and has a conversation of trying to get in and in some respects, I almost consider on that side of the fence, Staff Aug could be a means to opening their own consulting, right? How do you get your feet wet for, this is my niche, this is my specialty, help me build my resume. Do you offer feedback to your staff in regards to different means of acquiring new skill sets and new knowledge?
Definitely, definitely. And one more thing, I think I missed that. Good, this you asked that question. We have tied up with, so many training academies, Udemy and all, so that you can see from the website, we have tied up, and that is used only for the employee certification training programs. We spend a lot on them for the certifications and all, because we always want them to grow with us. Whoever employees is there, it is a full-time or a temp, whatever.
I love that, and I think I'm going to tie that right back to how you introduced yourself, right? Because what you just told me was not only you have two customers, you have the incoming candidates who would like to be staffed in organizations, one customer, and your second customer being that organization that needs staff. And I think what you just did was tick and tied right back to the beginning, which is through a customer service perspective, you help both sets of customers in a way that increases the knowledge and skill set of your incoming staff. That's wonderful. This was terrific.
This was great.
This was
absolutely
really great getting to know you better. Again, I'm going to point to LinkedIn for networking.
That's how we met.
This is
That's how
it.
Lovely and I met, and it was great. And it has it's where you go to meet people that will open doors for you, will make more connections for you. To me, I've been a member of LinkedIn since 2005. So, and here I am today.
Yeah, no, this was great. It was a real pleasure getting to know you.
Likewise.
Same here. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right.
So Lisa,
Yes.
Before we say goodbye to Lovely, what are your takeaways from today's conversation?
So I have a few. So I think my first takeaway is definitely to the people who've been laid off, right? Because I think at this point we're at hundreds of thousands of people that are now laid off from their businesses, from government and from individual businesses. please reach out to staff augmentation companies if you're struggling to get your foot in the door. There is a career path for you. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like your grandfather's career path,
Right.
but the ability to get your feet into organizations, to increase your skill set, to network yourself, absolutely vital. And they're there to allow you to help them help you. So that would be my first takeaway. My second takeaway is LinkedIn. And, I like to give Elijah advice. And my advice to Elijah, when you're in your 20s, start your networking connections, because they will be lifelong connections.
Absolutely.
And if they're documented, and if you're building your career and you're keeping those connections, keep the darn connections. I've just recently reconnected with somebody from my past 50 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And oh my God.
Oh, wow.
That's
a lifetime.
That was a lifetime ago, but so wonderful to reconnect. And, had we had LinkedIn, thank God we didn't, but had we... Thank God nothing's documented. No, I'm joking. But, again, from a professional perspective, I wouldn't have lost, it wouldn't have been 50 years since we last spoke. So that would be my second one, is to make that. And then the third one is, when somebody reaches out to you on LinkedIn, take the time to get to know them, because everyone is connected to somebody, and it's not about what can they do for you.
Right.
It's how can you build a relationship? What's the win-win in each of the relationships, and let it flow from there, and just enjoy.
That was lovely.
Thank
you. Thank you for sharing. So Lovely, thank you so much for agreeing to be part of our podcast. You were amazing. Your information, absolutely out of this world. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. And I truly enjoyed the engaging and thoughtful conversation we had. It was a pleasure to be part of such a meaningful initiative. Kudos.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Lovely.
So audience, I hope you enjoy listening to Lovely Sharma as much as we did. This was a great conversation. I learned a lot from her ideas and opinions and input. And with that, I want to leave you with my favorite quote. Let's continue to amplify diverse voices and promote meaningful dialogue. Until then, this is Maria.
And I'm Lisa. We're the Diversity Duo, and we'll see you next week. All right. Lovely. That was amazing.
Lovely. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, my God.